Hello my beautiful friends, my name is Alexandria and today I am coming to you with a new tag video. I absolutely love tag videos and I haven't done one in a minute. I try to do one once a month because there's just so many circulating at any given time that you could actually do one probably once a week if you wanted to. All of this being said, I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. If you would like to see my answers to all of these questions, then just keep on watching. So the first question is the best book you have read so far in 2021. And for this one, I actually have two answers. Actually, if I'm going to be honest, I would say three. Actually, maybe four, but I haven't finished the book, so I can't really put that one in. So I'm just going to go with three at this current moment. Two of them are actually books that I read in Black History Month for the Blackathon, and I read a ton of really good books in that month, but my two favorite ones were Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. That is a science fiction novel that is focusing on our main character who is Black and living a great life, you know, really happy with where her life is going and her relationship with her partner. She randomly starts being pulled into the past, into the South, and into slavery. And I actually just recently heard someone talking about this book, and the way that they described it just fully encompassed my feelings towards this book. It was not only a science fiction novel, it was also a horror novel, and I feel like that is really specific to the type of person that is reading the book. It's whenever anybody asks me that question, would you rather travel in the past or in the future? I'm like, is this a past that doesn't have racism? Is this a hypothetical past? Or is this actually legitimately the past that I'd be traveling to? Because I don't want to be doing that. But overall, I really did enjoy that book. I think I read it in less than a day, and it really got me into science fiction again, and also Octavia E. Butler. Why am I not showing you this? What am I doing? First book was Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and then the next book is going to have to be the autobiography of Malcolm X. This just hit me in so many places that I wasn't really expecting, especially with the year that it has been. This really hit differently for me. I didn't really know anything about Malcolm X other than what I had heard regurgitated from other people, and so it was really eye-opening to hear about his life. It's definitely a story. His autobiography is definitely something that I'm going to listen to in the future. I did listen to it on audiobook, which I think was the most wonderful of experiences, in part because of the narrator for this book, which is Lawrence Fishburne, and wow, his voice just brought things to another level, and I highly suggest anybody who wants to check it out on audiobook because it just is absolutely incredible. And then the last book that I have is kind of an honorable mention. I read last month during the Asian Readathon, and that is Ace by Angela Chin. I talked about this in my monthly wrap-up video last month, but this book was very, very impactful for me overall as a person. This is focused on asexuality and really just focused on intimacy and consent and the way that we experience attraction, just in general, but from the lens of people who are asexual, people who identify as asexual. And so it was very, very interesting. It was very eye-opening and made me think about a lot of different things in different ways that I have not done so yet until this point. And now every time I read a book, I'm also thinking about that book as well, and I think that's definitely a sign of a good book, is whether it sticks with you and whether I'm carrying it into other things that I'm doing in life. And so yeah, that's definitely something that I've been experiencing with that book. I also did listen to that on audiobook, so it's definitely going to be something that I will listen to again and again and again. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you read in 2021? And for that, I would have to choose Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I don't know if this is technically a sequel. I think this is more of a companion book, and this book is following the second oldest Brown sister. The first one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and the second one is Take It, Danny Brown. These books are very popular, so you've probably heard me or someone else talking about them. These are romance novels, and I just absolutely loved it on so many levels. All right, the next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to. And for this one, I actually chose I have 3 books chosen for this. So the first one is She Who Became the Sun. I am so excited to read this. I've seen some people getting like ARCs, so advanced readers copies of these books. And so I keep getting confused and thinking that it's already released and like getting excited. And then I go to my library and I'm like, oh, well, I can't buy it because it's not available yet. So this is described as Mulan meets the Song of Achilles, which means that it's gonna be queer. And oh my God, I am so excited. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that kind of got some queer vibes from Mulan. Am I the only one? I'm almost tempted to like pre-order it, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it yet. So I'm just gonna wait until it comes from the library and be patient and go from there. The next book is going to be the second book in the I think the first one is A Song of Grace and Ruin. I read that this year and that was really good. And the second book is going to be coming out, I think later this year, hopefully, unless the release date changes. And it is going to be called A Psalm of Storms and Silence. This book was one of my favorite books. One of my favorite fantasy books that I've read recently. And yeah, it was super enjoyable and it ended on a cliffhanger. So I am looking forward to reading the next one. And the last book is one that I've been excited about. I think I talked about this in my top 21 books that I'm excited about or that I'm anticipating reading in 2021, something like that. And it is going to be released. Has it been released already? I think it has been released actually. And it is called Ace of Spades. This looks so good. I think that it's kind of like a dark academia type of book, but really just the cover is what pulled me in. And so I am definitely going to be reading that once I can get my hands on it. And if I like it, I'm definitely going to purchase it because that cover, I'm so tempted to just purchase it because I want the cover, but trying to control myself. We'll see how long that lasts. Okay, so the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I feel like one of those books that I just mentioned is probably going to answer that question, so we'll just move on to the next one, and that is the biggest disappointment of 2021. The biggest disappointment for me that I read this year was probably These Violent Delights, just because I had heard it hyped up so much, and what I thought that it was going to be didn't end up being what it was, and so I was disappointed on that level. And also I just wasn't super happy with the way that the story panned out, and there were some themes in the story that I know aren't going to be triggering for other people, but for me personally it was really hard to read at certain times. And so I'm debating on whether I want to read the next one. I'm gonna have to wait until I know the trigger warnings and stuff like that before getting into it. And that is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in Shanghai in the 20s, I believe. And the premise was really good. But there were just, like I said, some themes in it that were a little bit triggering for me. The next question is biggest surprise. And I think for this one, I have 2 chosen. I have Red Rising, which is kind of an interesting surprise because it was kind of surprising, but it wasn't the most surprising because I really like science fiction. But this kind of reminded me that I really like science fiction, heavy science fiction. And this, I've talked about this so many times, so I'm not going to get too much into the plot. But it's kind of like a revenge type of story. Someone at the bottom of this caste system rising to the top and kind of wanting to infiltrate and break down the system. And it's set in Mars, and there's also Greek mythology references, which I absolutely love, and it just has so many of the things that I love so much. The political intrigue has kept me on my toes, and I'm so excited about it right now, specifically because I finished the last book in the first 3 books yesterday, I think, or the day before, and wow, it was fucking phenomenal. But another book that I read this month, I will again be talking about it in my wrap-up video for this month, is A Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics. This was a romance, a historical romance, and it is sapphic, and so I was really excited to read it. I wasn't anticipating it being anything too in-depth, too like heavy, you know, like I didn't expect for it to have very much substance, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was just gonna be like a fun little romance to read that would, you know, make me happy after reading so many like heterosexual romances. It really surprised me to the point where I'm actually planning on buying it in the very near future, just so I can have it in my collection, because I think that it's a really important story. I really like the way that it was told. There's so many places that I want to underline and quotes that I absolutely loved. I just thought that it was absolutely beautiful. The story was beautiful, the relationship, it just made me so happy. And it was such a surprise, such a pleasant surprise for me. So the next question is, what is your favorite new author or new to you author? And that is going to have to be two authors, actually. The first one is going to be Octavia E. Butler. I did read Kindred the first time for the Blackathon and thoroughly enjoyed her writing. Being able to read a Black author who kind of started the wave of science fiction written by people of color is really incredible, especially reading that author's work and then reading something like N.K. Jemisin with the Broken Earth trilogy. It's really amazing to kind of see the inspiration that has been drawn from that, which is, you know, absolutely beautiful. And science fiction is one of my favorite genres as well. Other author is Kazuo Ishiguro. I read their first book last month, which was Never Let Me Go. This month I actually read a second book by them called Clara and the Sun, and they don't have like a huge backlist, but they have quite a few books. And so I'm definitely going to be working through those over the next few months, because I just absolutely love their writing. It's so beautiful, so easily accessible to me. I also write kind of science fiction, like literary, contemporary science fiction type stories. I'm not really sure what the rest of their writing is about, but that's kind of the theme of the two books that I read from them. And I absolutely love both of them. Definitely going to have to be ones that I add to my collection. The next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? And if you know me, then you know that it is going to have to be Zaf from Take a Hint, Danny Brown. He is just absolutely wonderful. He is exquisite. I love him as a person, and I'm not sure if I love him so much because he reminds me so much of me. To be honest, I feel like that's a huge part of it. Also, I don't remember his name. Is his name Michael? I don't remember what his name is, but the main male character in the Kiss Quotient, he's a good one too. All right, next question is newest favorite character, and for this one, I'd have to again choose Zaf, and along with him, I have to choose Darrow from Red Rising, and not only Darrow, who is the main character in Red Rising, but also Severo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a fucking riot. He's a mess, but he always cracks me up, and he honestly feels like such a real character that I just love him so much. Next is a book that made you cry. I have cried with quite a few books, but the one that like very vividly sticks out in my mind that I was really surprised that I was crying when I was reading was actually Red Rising. And I cried very early on, like within the first chapter, if not first couple chapters, because something very sad happens. But I didn't realize that I would be so invested to the characters that soon. And little did I know that this was just going to be a running theme and a cycle that happened throughout the series. Just my heart being completely shattered and put back together. And then shattered again. And then put back together. A book that made you happy, and I actually have two books for this one. The first one is The Hobbit, which is by J.R.R. Tolkien, if you don't know. And it's following the adventure of Bilbo Baggins, and it just brought me so much joy reading it. Like every second of it just brought me the absolute most joy, and it's definitely going to be like a comfort, cozy read for me. Then the other book is going to have to be At Your Age, Eve Brown. This one just made me so happy. There were so many scenes that made me smile. Eve is definitely, Eve is my favorite Brown sister, but Zaf is my favorite male lead, like romantic interest. Most beautiful book that you bought this year. All right, so you're probably gonna notice a little bit of a theme with these books that I find extremely beautiful. So I have Legendborn, which is still to be read. I'm going to get to it this month. I really am. I need to start soon, actually. I think this cover is absolutely beautiful. I just love seeing black girl magic. I also have Amari and the Night Brothers. My child actually got this for her birthday this year. And so yeah, I'm very excited to read this in the future, and I think the cover is absolutely beautiful, of course. And also A Song of Race and a Ruin, which I think I got this year. Pretty sure I got this year. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There aren't really any books that I need to read by the end of the year. There are some books that I want to read. I would really like to finish Anna Karenina. Well, start and finish Anna Karenina. There's a series for a video that I would like to do in the future that I would like to finish actually in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if that actually happens. I want to finish Know My Name by Chanel Miller because I have started that. I just didn't end up finishing it because I just wanted to be in the right headspace. Pretty much everything that's on my TBR and any of the books that I haven't read that are on my bookshelf as of right now. So yes, that is all of the answers to the questions. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you are watching this video and you make YouTube videos, you are tagged. You're welcome. You can say that I tagged you. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're finding joy in whatever way it is that you can. Love you.